Hi, it's Matt here from Digital Matter, and I'm just here to show you some of the results of our comparison between the tracking performance of a Yabby Edge, which is our new device. It uses GNSS, Wi-Fi, and also cell tower information to resolve for location. And it's a bit novel in the way it does this. It actually just scans for these raw signals, and it sends this off to this server for computation. So really on the server side, we're doing a lot of filtering to try and get the position accuracy where it needs to be. Obviously, there's quite a few considerations in this, particularly given perhaps if we're failing GPS and we're falling back to Wi-Fi or cell, these location methods are a little bit less accurate. So you can imagine that we might be tracking along the road, getting GPS fixes, and then suddenly we jump away because fallen back to a cell tower, so which is only accurate to within around 300 meters. So we're doing quite a lot on the location engine side, using a variety of providers to really push the performance of this device, and we're actually quite impressed with the results so far. So our marketing manager Shay put one of each devices in a car, and we can see her leaving the office yesterday, and this is in a Bolt. And the Bolt, it's our device. It's a plug and play OBD unit. You plug straight in to your vehicle's OBD port, so no install, just ready to go. We did it in about 5 seconds, and basically you can see it puts down extra logs for heading change, which is when it turns a corner. So we can see it really follows the road like this. Okay, now the Oyster and the Yabby are a little bit different. So we're getting positions every 3 minutes. Okay, so we're obviously going to miss some corners here. Okay, but if I put the Oyster 2 down, we can see where it's actually putting points down. So at this point in time, this log came at just about 5:17. This one came a few seconds later, so we can see it's right on the road where it should have been. It was dead on here in this trip. Okay, and the same thing a bit further along. Okay, so we're right on where we should be. Just the reason it looks like this is obviously we're logging a bit less. Okay, and then again, same thing in the Yabby Edge. You can see it nearly lines up perfectly. Okay, and this position isn't actually incorrect either. It's actually, it's different to the Oyster, but this one was taken at 5:17 and this one was taken about 40 seconds later. So that makes sense that a little bit later we're still right on the road where we should be, because even though we set a timer to get a fix every 3 minutes, it's not on the 3 minutes. It's kind of after the device has got a GPS fix or whatnot for the Oyster. There's a little bit of variance here, and that's what the gaps are, but both are essentially right where the Bolt is if you compare the logs at the same point in time, just like here. So one of the interesting things though probably is if we zoom right in towards the end and head to the satellite. Okay, you can see the end destination is quite a heavily covered area full of trees, and all the devices did end up finishing up at the right location. But we can see a lot of these positions towards the end of the trip here are all Wi-Fi fixes by the Yabby Edge. Okay, so it's falling back to Wi-Fi and becoming more accurate, mainly due to a lot of the cloud cover here. The tree cover and tall buildings. So we can see here that for whatever reason it didn't quite see enough Wi-Fi access points at this point, and it still managed to get a fix. It must have been in here somewhere. It still managed to get some GNSS signals. That's not quite a good signal, and it's put us in a little bit less of an accurate position. We've kind of bounced over to the other side of the road here, and these are just kind of the little things we can watch out for, but we've got a lot of settings we can tweak to really improve upon this. But to be honest, once you zoom out and look at the trip, it ended at exactly the right destination, and it's really looking good. So coming through to today, we'll look at the Yaris again. Again, we can see the cornering tracking on the Bolt. And the satellite view is actually quite interesting. Okay, because this is our office over here, this big tall building. Okay, and Shay's actually parked where the Yabby edge will tell us. So even though the performance of the GPS on the Bolt is amazing, and as we can see where it's turning around here, again, the Yabby edge has put us in exactly the right spot as we were going around this bend. Okay, but then when it's come around here, the Bolt's at last position is it's failed its last fix when it's actually gone into this underground car park here. Whereas now the Yabby is picking up all the Wi-Fi positions here, and there's actually quite a few of them all in the same spot. So the accuracy is quite impressive, really. We just do need to be aware of some of these little potential jumps, like up at the other end. But again, that's quite minuscule in the scheme of things. And if we understand that there's a lot of settings we can tweak and change if we need to, we can really get the device performing in any location exactly the way we want.